It was a fun day of shooting my Q3 until this happened. In the last video, I took you along to one event during the Nine Emperor Festival in Phuket, Thailand, which was a blast to photograph. But in today's video, we are going to take it up a notch. I'll take you along for the rest of the week that I spent photographing this incredible festival with my Leica Q3. And yes, my camera got messed up, but more on that later on in this episode. Besides some events in the evening, a typical day would start very early in the morning before sunrise. There are many shrines around the Phuket Old Town area participating in this festival, and each shrine has its own events. So each morning before sunrise, which was typically around 6 AM, we went to a shrine, a different one each morning, to document what was going on, and it was intense to say the least. But see for yourself. Even though the location differed, the ceremonies are typically very similar, so when we arrived, there were usually already a lot of people around. The Masongs who are performing the rituals would first get in a state of trance, which I've shown you already in the last video. But the difference is that in the mornings, what would follow was a little bit more extreme. When they reached their state of trance, the Masongs typically got their cheeks pierced with all sorts of items, ranging from thin sticks to swords and other crazy things you'll see throughout the video. Don't worry, you'll see the final results and not how they got cut open, because this isn't for me, and also YouTube wouldn't tolerate that either, I guess. In the morning at the shrines, the atmosphere was very calm and relaxed. It was literally the calm before the storm that was about to unfold later on. I wonder what he is using this massive axe for. I told you that you'll see all sorts of crazy stuff used to pierce the cheeks. Now, you might ask yourself, why would anybody do this? Well, as far as I understand, the piercings are considered a way to rid yourself of bad karma and impurities, thereby bringing blessings and good fortune to the community. The belief is that while possessed by divine spirits, the Masongs are impervious to pain and injury. They perform these acts not only to demonstrate their spiritual connection, but also to bring protection to others. The piercings are seen as a form of offering, symbolizing the Masongs' willingness to endure hardship for the gods. The acts are performed in the hope of receiving divine favor for themselves and their communities. This tradition dates back hundreds of years, and the most extreme form, it can be found in Phuket, Thailand. Remember the guy with the band-aids on the cheeks from the last video? Well, he most likely had piercings, and that is how they typically would treat the wounds. From what I've heard, they usually heal very quickly. Some of the older Masongs had a lot of scars on their cheeks from years of being part of the festival. Now, after the Masongs receive their piercings, they go on a parade, which typically lasts a few hours and can cover a lot of ground. There was one exception though. On one morning, we went to a shrine that was a little further away from Phuket Old Town, and all the Masongs were brought to the parade with the help of trucks. Some friendly locals also gave us a lift, which was nice because otherwise we had no idea where to go. It seemed like that swords were among the most popular items that Masongs used to pierce their cheeks. During the parades, you can see a lot of people lined up next to the road to watch, and some of them receive blessings from the Masongs to free them from their hardships and those of their loved ones. If you're now wondering why everyone is dressed in white, which included us as well, this is sort of a dress code and it is a symbol of purity. This also creates a sense of unity among the participants. In a lot of shots, you'll see that I chose to shoot from a lower angle. The reason for that was to cover up messy backgrounds and in general to make the subjects stand out more. Also, the use of flash, of course, helped a lot to achieve that. Here I wanted to create a connection between the power lines and the piercings of the Masong, which blend in nicely. By the way, if you want to learn from me personally while having a great time shooting, come to one of my workshops and meet other like-minded people from all over the world. And I've just added new dates for 2025. On one morning, some participants of the parade took a detour down to the waterfront to perform a ritual. I'm not sure what this was all about, but I'm glad I went there and had the chance to document the happenings. The Masongs mostly have a crew of 2 or more people following them and making sure that they are doing okay. And if any issues occur, they will try to fix those. When we got to the street corner, we figured that the green house and the blue sky would make a nice background. And we camped there for a bit to wait for interesting subjects. If you have seen the last episodes with all the craziness regarding the firecrackers, well, of course, this also happened during those parades. And trust me, it got really mad. It was so loud and got very chaotic. And then there was all the smoke. With eye and ear protection, it wasn't really dangerous, but still a challenge to get good shots. Well, and on the last day, while shooting amongst the chaos, I suddenly noticed that the screen on my Leica Q3 looked a bit strange. I couldn't see anything on the screen, and the first thing that I did was to turn off the camera. When I did that, I could see parts of the red logo that you can see when you turn off the camera. So my first thought was that the screen was broken, even though I didn't feel any impact whatsoever before that had happened. And of course, I was wearing sunglasses to protect my eyes from the firecrackers, which made it slightly more difficult to see what was going on with my camera. I took a photo and the camera was working just fine, at least the flash was firing. A few seconds went by and I touched the rear screen of my camera to feel if there were any cracks. When I looked at my fingertip, it was black. So I wiped the screen with my shirt and suddenly I could see an image again. I cleaned it all off and looked for damage, but there wasn't any. I was a little confused about what just happened, but I was holding my camera with the bottom against my body and the screen was pointing up. And some firecrackers must have landed on top of my screen, and when they went off, they left that black residue obscuring the view on the screen. Later on, I thoroughly inspected the screen and I couldn't find any damage to it, even though there wasn't even a screen protector applied to the screen. Feels like I got really lucky here, but maybe the presence of the Masongs helped to protect my camera. I guess we'll never find out. By the way, if you want to elevate your street photography to the next level, check out my new video course about using flash in street photography, which will give you a good understanding of flash and how to use it effectively while shooting in the streets. The link is in the video description. Also, starting now until December 8th, you can get 20% discount for everything in my online store using this code here. For some reason, with all the people marching and the smoke in the background, this reminded me of The Walking Dead. There are some pictures I would have loved to show you, but because there's blood involved, I've decided to exclude them from the video. But I will probably post them on my website a little later on, together with lots of additional photos. Alright, I hope you liked today's episode. See you in the next one. Until then, auf Wiedersehen.